Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, Trinity. How are you? Good morning, Virgos. And welcome to Tracy Wise Sources Tarot. Time now is 2:14 a.m. Eastern where I am. So happy hump day. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Virgo placements. So definitely take what resonates and leave the rest, and definitely do not false it. It may or may not be your reading. Entertainment purposes only. If it's your first time here, please do subscribe. Feel free to tap the notification bell so you know when I'm going live. Also, feel free to share the channel. And as always, if you wish to book a private reading at any time, always feel free to seek that information from the description. You said the sound is good. You said I'm okay trying to sleep. Oh my Lord. Trinity, did I wake you up? Did I wake you up, Trinity? You said you was trying to sleep. I was sitting here dozing off, so I had to get me a cup of coffee. You guys know how I do. Yeah, I didn't send out any notifications. So for those people who are tapped in, if you're tapped in, then you're tapped in for a reason. So you may have taken notice of the title. And so this particular title, because like I said, this reading is not going to be for everyone. So by all means, take what resonate, because some will understand and some will not understand. And so I titled this reading Challenged. Some of you are going to be challenged in a gifted format. You said, Trinity said, no, I have a summer. You said, my pills haven't kicked in yet. Oh my God. I took 3 Tylenol because I had a migraine headache. And so I took a few Tylenol. Um, so let me explain what I mean when I say challenge giftedly. What I mean by that, Virgos, is that some of you are either born with it, you have inherited, you wasn't even aware of it. Some of you may have taken notice of your gift at an early age, perhaps in your teens, perhaps in your 20s, perhaps in your 30s, 40s. Some of you, once you were aware of it and you took knowledge of that, what I mean by that, good morning, Miss Big Red. How you doing, girl? And what I mean by that, Virgos, is that some of you inherit this through your spiritual ancestors, through your family bloodline, where it was a spiritual traditional. Like when it comes to spiritual family traditional rituals in the family lineage. When it comes to being clairvoyant, autovoyant, telepathic, empath, light worker, Reiki teacher, healer. Um, some of you have the abilities of being a psychic or a medium. Some of you are able to pick up on sounds. You are able to detect things within your dreams when you receive certain visions and downloads. Some of you are able to remember your dreams when you awake. Um, speaking for myself, I had an experience yesterday when I left home, and I decided, well, let me go out and do a little bit of window shopping. And so I said, well, let me stop by the little thrift store and pick up a couple of candles because that's what I often do, right? And so, Virgos, when you are gifted with this type of ability, sometimes you're not often aware of it, and maybe some of you are, that when you are out in public places, you tend to become very sensitive when it comes to picking up on other people's energy. Um, you may begin to become like somewhat fatigued, uh, feel a little bit dizzy, feel a little bit warm, feel, slightly dizzy when you're around other individuals. Good morning, Sabrina. How are you? And so, when it comes to your gift, sometimes you may have what I call a spiritual attack of the brain fog, where it's almost feeling as though you're about to pass out, but then you have to stand still or take a deep breath. Yesterday, I had something happen to me, and while I was out in this thrift shop, um, normal day, going about my business. Like I said, window shopping, picking up a few candles, looking at certain things for my altar. There was this woman with her grandchild to my right, brown skin, older woman, I say within her 60s, maybe, She had a granddaughter. With her granddaughter can be between the ages of 10, 12, right about that age. And this woman, she had on a skirt, you know what I'm saying? Like a little, she had like a shawl over her shoulders, she had like a cane or whatever have you. And her hair was down. And I immediately picked up on her, and she picked up on me. Now, remind you, when I go out, I don't display who I am. Yes, I had on my bracelets. I had on my rings. You know what I'm saying? I had on a couple of necklaces, but nothing to the point of me displaying who I am spiritually. When this lady turned around and we made eye contact, it was almost like an experience of being in New Orleans. When I tell you this lady's eyes turned as if I was looking at some sort of a spiritual, and that's a sign from spirit here, that it was like I saw what I thought was like a voodoo priest, like vampire-ish. When I tell you this lady turned around, and it wasn't but for like a quick second, like 30 seconds, this lady turned around and she looked at me, and I knew I wasn't hallucinating, losing my mind. And when I tell you that this woman's eyes turned turquoise, blue, gray, velvet, real bright, and she looked at me, her eyes turned colors, and she looked at me, and she gave me this look to challenge me and let me know, where she almost was kind of like upset because she came face to face with me. And so I turned away and I said, okay, I'm not going to look at her. I'm just going to act normal. And so she was coming toward me with her cart with her, her grandchild. And I said, well, let me look back again. You know what I'm saying? Let me look back again because I have to, And when I leave the house, sometimes I don't always, you know what I'm saying, like feel like I have to really 100% cover myself, like because I'm not at work, right? And so as she walked up on me, I picked up on her energy immediately. It was so strong, right? And I said, "Well, is she blind?" Because I know I saw what I saw. And when she came up on me, her eyes turned back black or whatever. And so I said, "Okay, let me go to another lane," right? Because I picked up on her energy real heavy. And for some reason, I didn't feel as though I was really like 100% protected. You know what I'm saying? Where normally if I leave the house, I know what to carry on me. And so I knew who she was. I picked up on her energy immediately. So I said, let me go in a different lane. And then about an hour ago, I was checking out a witch Yaya, Black Witch Yaya. She was doing one of her little story tells. And she was speaking on this exact same thing that I saw. And she pulled up a photo of the lady, and how she was dressed and stuff. And I said, well, I'll be damned. And then I saw this other woman that she was doing like a story and she spoke on it. And sometimes when I just come across certain things, it's like it gives me clarity because I know what I saw and I know what I felt. And today, when I fell asleep and took a nap, it was the first time that I had, like, a download, a vision, bad dream, nightmare. But in my dream, even when I'm spiritually attacked, I fight back in my dreams, right? And I can see the devils coming. I can see whatever come my way, people, whatever. And when things go down, I tend to fight in my dream. I fight, not F them up. You know what I'm saying? But then I woke up and I said, okay, I was pissed because I woke up with a headache. And so immediately I went into action. You guys know how I do. I said, okay, cool. Let me get hit on the cleanse. Let me do what I got to do. Let me cover the house, the bed. Let me do my spiritual homework. And let me, remove this and return back to sender. Because you guys know, if you, I tell people all the time, don't disturb my peace, right? And so that just lets you know. I share that to say with you guys. Some of you are gonna go, and you could just be out and about. And sometimes spirit will let you see, come in direct contact with who you are because like minded individuals can pick up on that same energy. You said I have a dream but can't hardly remember it anymore. And see, it's like when you are spiritually gifted, you will know if you come in contact with another individual that has some of the same powerful gifts that you have. Sometimes you will see somebody and it will let you know. You will have an experience where you could be out and about in the public and you may have a woman, an older woman who you never met in your life, and she'll just start speaking on top of her head, and people will think she's crazy. But she'll say certain things, and you'll know that she's speaking to you, even if she's not looking at you. And you could pick up on certain things. And when you have that ability to be, like I said, clairvoyant, telepathic, audiovoyant, light worker, healer, Reiki, whatever the case may be, when you are truly gifted, when it comes to hoodoo, voodoo, um, shaman, when it comes to Orisha, Oshun, when it comes to those certain gifts, especially during moon cycles, you know, when we going through these spiritual moon cycles, you will come across like-minded individuals. Good morning, Supernatural. How are you? Correct, and it's weird because Like I said, depending on what level you are, where you are in this, if you really, really take it seriously, like myself, you guys know this is something that I do natural. This is something that just comes by. This is a 7 day, 24/7 for me, right? This is my life. So it just reminded me after going through that experience that I really do have to walk, not just walk in my light, but I have to remember to cover myself and protect myself because you never know where you're going to be, right? It's almost like if you are in a place, like let's say, for example, New Orleans, and you go into a particular hotel or a particular restaurant, and it's prehistoric. It has a lot of history to it, right? If you ever go into an old house, an old building, and that house or that church, that building has a lot of history to it, you will be able to pick up on that energy immediately. You said, "Oh my God!" You said you've been feeling so itchy all over. You know what? I was feeling like that yesterday with the itchiness. That, yeah, it gives you cringes to the point where you have to get up and take a shower. you know, and you said you put on so much lotion. And so when you have certain spirits around you or shadows or whatever the case may be, sometimes you can pick up on that. And it's very important that we have to, when we leave the house, it's very important. I always say, wear your crystals, carry certain candles. Now, a year or two ago, I used to have what I call my witch's travel kit, where I used to carry my little travel kit with me everywhere I go, and I would place it on my body. And so, a witch's kit is something that you could put into a little something, something. And it's always important where they say to always carry a red candle, a black candle, a white candle. Always carry your amethyst crystal, your clear quartz, your cellulite, your tourmaline, crystal, your pyrite. You understand what I'm saying? There's certain your green tree. You know what I'm saying? Certain candles that you're supposed to put within. You know, when it comes to carrying certain crystals with you. And I used to always have my little spiritual crystal box, you know what I'm saying? And I would always have it on me. But I stopped doing it. I stopped doing it for a while because I didn't feel like I really needed to do it. But I share that, Virgos, to say that it's very important for those of us who know who we are. You know, sometimes they say when you know who you are, that when you walk, and I used to think that, old fashioned superstitions, you know what I'm saying? How you would hear those stories from grandma, great auntie, or somebody in the family who would sit down and talk to you about these things. How they would tell you about the importance of covering your hair. Because people do root work when it comes to trying to grab strands of your hair. And be careful who you let in, right? Never eat everybody's food because you don't know what they put in it, right? And so, because I used to always wear my head wraps, especially when I'm at work. If I know I'm around envy or jealousy or whatever, it's important to cover your head sometimes to protect your hair. I don't know. It's something about, they say spiritually, that when you are gifted and you leave the house, it's very important to wear your head wrap and protect your crown. Because spiritually, you would hear them saying that. You said I'm working graveyard shift, Divine. Oh, okay, okay, that's my shift. I work graveyard shift too, but right now I'm at home on, You know that I'm still on home on medical leave on rest since my operation, so I don't go back to work until August 1st. But if that, I hope so. But yeah. And so I'm doing a whole lot of spiritual homework or spiritual cleansing, you know. And I said, okay. And so before I even did this reading, I burnt some bay leaves and I burnt some of my herbs. And it took me back old school, you know. And so I washed my hands today. And when I washed my hands, I did my spiritual ritual, you know, when I wash my hands and I do my cleansing water with my honey, cinnamon, sugar, you know. When I spiritually wash my hands with my rice, you know, my spiritual water, you know, so I wash my hands, cleanse my jewelry off, you know what I'm saying? Incense, oils, and all that. My feet, my head, my neck, my back, my chest. You understand what I'm saying? I really get down with it, y'all. And sometimes it's important for us to do this, okay? Because when you're gifted, you have to know how to cleanse yourself from head to toe. And you have to know what to wear and protect yourself when you're out in the open. And so I put on some of my necklaces and I said, okay, I said, I see right now when I leave the house, I'm going to have to go back old school. You understand what I'm saying? And because we're going through these moon cycles and you will be confronted in a situation such as the one I was confronted with yesterday. And so when I sat here and I'm going through you guys as cards, the first word that came out in this here reading, Virgo, it keeps speaking on change, change, change. What is it that you need to let go of? What is it that you need to face reality with? What are you still in denial about? You know, realization when it comes to your stability and independence. You know, because the first cards that came out when you're reading tonight, Virgos, is the Eight of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. And so it's like it's certain areas of your life that's requiring you to create. And there's certain areas in your life that's calling you to have independence when it comes to self realization, when it comes to the Eight of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. But in order for you to even get to this here Eight of Pentacles and Nine of Pentacles, I'll show it to you. When it comes to this, because I don't even know if you're going to see it, but when it comes to the Eight of Pentacles and when it comes to the Nine of Pentacles, when it comes to you knowing who you are, when it comes to you working on your spiritual craft, when it comes to you needing to have that private space, that sacred space for yourself of no distractions, not allowing anybody to disturb your space, your aura, your crown. And a lot of times during the day, we tend to get caught up on what's going on social media, what's going on around us, or you might be around family, friends, co-workers, you know, lovers, partners, spouses, whatever the case may be, kids. Sometimes as a Virgo, we need that time alone because you showed up in your reading when it comes to the Hermit card, you know. So it's like what situation in your life is asking you to look within. Strength card, where do you find your most inner strength? So it's like some of you have Leo and Aquarius placements, as well as Pisces and Taurus placements. And so when it comes to the hyphen card, it's like, what are you ready to commit to in your life? But before you can even do that, Spirit is saying that some of you are needing to not just cleanse spiritually, but is a need for shadow work. It's a need for journaling. It's a need to write down some things. Do your spiritual homework. Now is the time for healing meditation. Because when it comes to the star card, it's asking you what needs to heal in your life in order for you to realize your deepest dreams. When it comes to your dreams and aspirations and hopes and ideas, some of you got somebody in your way. Divine said, "What does that do?" You said, "I heard that Haitians put bay leaf." Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. When you burn bay leaf, it removes that negative spiritual attack of the enemy. So when you burn a bay leaf, it's almost like reversing it back to sender, right? Especially if you do it during a moon cycle and you're listening to your spiritual mantras when it comes to returning back to sender. When somebody tries to send you black magic or evil eye, that's why you guys always see my little evil eye right here. Um, it's important to burn your bay leaf, you know. And so it's like I have my bay leaf in my little shell. You see it? And so I burnt half of it. I didn't burn the whole thing, you know. But yeah, it's like you can take your bay leaf, see, you can burn it. And that pretty much clears away any negative energy, okay, and sends it back. And so that gets rid of the negative energy. That gets rid of when enemies try to send things your way, right? That's almost like a reverse. Immediately send that back, break that. Understand? So, yeah. So I did that. And I also burned some fresh sage. I always keep my sage and I burn a little bit of fresh sage. So, for me, uh, I'm a firm believer in burning fresh sage, fresh bay leaves, fresh cinnamon sticks. You guys know I keep all kinds of cinnamon sticks on my altar. So I burn bay leaves, I burn fresh cinnamon sticks, I burn sage, herbs with my coffee beans, and do a spiritual cleansing, right? Part of the healing process. If you know, you know. It's important to keep vinegar, lemon juice, or fresh lemons, fresh lemons, limes, tangerines, or oranges, and you can squeeze it on your feet, and you can cleanse your feet, or you could take fresh Florida water and fresh sage, rose water with myrrh and frankincense, and you can cleanse your feet, your hands, your neck, your head, your back, your chest, your throat chakra. You understand? And so, just to help as a part of the cleansing. But getting into your cards, like I say, you guys know I always keep myself spiritually covered and anointed, and people need to be aware of that. But Virgo, like I was saying, when it comes to your cards, and you got the star card with the hermit card, it's like, and like I said, the Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. You're going through this here spiritual death card, this transformation. It's like what situation in your life is transforming and changing to bring about something new, and what situation in your life is asking you to observe your emotions when it comes to the Death card and the Queen of Cups. What is a need for you to pay close attention to your intuition? Because for many of you, there's something from your past, a painful experience that you may need to confront when it comes to the Three of Swords. Maybe something didn't end with closure. Maybe you're needing to spiritually forgive yourself in order to forgive that person. I'm not saying go to this person face to face and have a conversation. Some of you may just need to spiritually seek a high priest and go to some water where you can have yourself properly cleansed to remove that past pain that broke your heart and had you locked into a third party situation. Because some of you are going through some sort of power struggle when it comes to the Five of Swords energy. There's some sort of blockage where Spirit is asking you, what do you need to remove yourself from in order to have a peace of mind? With Seven of Swords, so what situation in your life do you need to protect and cherish? What is it that you value the most? And for some of us, that could be our own character, dignity, morals, values, worshiping ourselves, knowing our true inner person. Because we all have an inner and an outer. Um, that's why it's important for us to do our shadow work and go through that step work process and do that journaling so that we can release that past pain, hurt, trauma. Well, once upon a time, whatever it was we went through, when it, trials and tribulations, we all had been there, done that, and did that, and moved on. We all had to put, the boots was on the ground. We had to pick ourselves up by our own bootstraps and start all over again after being up high and hitting rock bottom due to some sort of tragic, um, emotional, where we may have felt verbally, mentally, and emotionally abused, used and abused, taken advantage of, where somebody manipulated the situation, and even in some cases, physical abuse. What's up, Porsche? Good morning, girl. And so it's like the time has come for spiritual change. The time has come for us to get motivated again, because you got the Nine of Wands. And so, with the Nine of Wands, what are you determined to achieve in your life that you are about to give up on? Because with the Hangman energy right behind the Nine of Wands, what situation in your life do you need to look at from a different perspective? What are you having a hard time letting go of and feeling as though you're going to have to make some sort of sacrifice in order for you to bring about this here change? It's like with the Two of Wands, are you prepared to make a decision that may change the course of your life? Where do you need to find inner strength with the Strength card? Again, with the Hermit card, what situation in your life is asking you to look within? And with the Seven of Pentacles, what situation in your life are you ready to invest your time and energy when it comes to money? And with the King of Wands, I know I'm not ready for this. When it comes to the King of Wands, what ideas are you ready to implement with others? And I can tell you right now, I'm not ready. You know what I'm saying? It's like here, Virgo, we are family, right? We network, we communicate, we are family right here. We've been working together, and we are, this is a loving family platform. And so we know each other, right? So we come here. This is our special network, right? And so we see each other. We're cool with each other. We're comfortable, right? But when it comes to dealing with people on the outside, when it comes to people on the outside, Virgo. Some of us, especially if you're like myself, if you are spiritually single and you are spiritually celibate like myself, you are single and celibate and you don't have nobody in your life and you're not laying down with nobody, you have become content and comfortable with being alone, not because you have to be alone, not because you can't get nobody, but because you spiritually choose to be alone. You understand what I'm saying? And so you have gotten used to being alone. You have gotten not just content, but you're comfortable, you're cool, you're okay, because you had to go through that spiritual healing process, right? And so, since going through that spiritual healing process, it has given you and blessed you with, you know, just growth, spiritual growth of you now knowing who you are, protecting your space and your aura and your light, right? And so it's like because we have been through so many different channels of our life that we had to learn because spirit took us through that lesson called life. You know, life lessons will teach you, right? You will either swim or sink. You will either drown and hit rock bottom and stay down. And for some, you get depressed and you may not want to get up, right? We start thinking crazy. We start doubting ourselves, beating up on ourselves. But once you do that shadow work and you take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and and you begin to process the reality. Okay, what part did I play in this? How did I attract myself to this? Thank God I'm no longer attached to it. Or if I am, how do I break free of this? Right? And once you escape and you break free of it because the pain got great enough, it's like the old saying, change doesn't come into play until the pain gets great enough. Once the pain gets great enough, you'll do something different. Until then, you're going to have to continue to push prayer until that which different takes place. And sometimes we have to learn how to take a negative and change it into a positive. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's crazy because now that we have come this far in life with this healing journey, this spiritual process, for those of us who are single and celibate, because we choose to be, you said I try natural stuff, it doesn't work. Okay. It's like because we choose this path, we refuse to open the door and allow the devil to come back in, right? It's like nothing could persuade us anymore or manipulate us anymore to take us back down that lane where we had to graduate from. And so when it comes to the King of Wands, what ideas are you ready to implement with others? Yeah, when it comes to others, I consider us as others. Okay, we can share our ideas and our thoughts with us. But when it comes to dealing with people on the outside, I'm still having a hard time with that part. You know, I'm still having a hard time with that part. Um, because I feel like we have to be careful when it comes to opening the door and allowing for other people to walk in and come into our lives. Is really hard to accept um, relationships. That's not to say we don't want it. It's hard to accept intimacy with other people because there's so many crazy ass people in the world that we really do have to protect ourselves 100% because many of us, you know, we're going through this here world card, this world cycle. And so it's asking you what's closing out for you now? What new cycle are you ready to start? And then with the Knight of Wands, what are you passionate and motivated about in your life? What motivates you to want to do something different? So it's like sometimes you could say, well, I'm alone, I want a relationship, but then when you start dating again, I know for myself, once you get back in the dating game and you really see that nothing has really changed, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then you say, okay, well, I haven't been out in a while. Let me get dressed, put some clothes on, let me go to the club. And then when you get to the club, you like, oh hell no, this is not me. I don't outgrew this shit. You want to say what I'm saying? Or let me go to so and so's party. And then when you get to that party, you be like, oh hell no, this is not my thing. I'm ready to go home. And so some of us, we enjoy our own quiet activity, our own time alone. And that lets you know that you're going through that growth process. Exactly, Miss Big Red, exactly. Likewise, me too. It's been almost 8 years for me, and so I choose not to look back. That's not to say that I haven't gone on dates. You know what I'm saying? I tried to date, but yeah, it's like when you get in the dating game, it's like having to train a person. It's like having to put trainer wheels on a child, or having to like potty train somebody and change his diapers and teach it how to walk. You understand what I'm saying? Teach it how to use the bathroom. And I just don't have time for that. Exactly. I refuse to go backwards, right? And so it's like spirit the same. Well, how can spirit bring us love, right? If we're not willing to open our hearts back to letting love in. It's like some of us is not ready for that. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying that we don't want it. It's not saying that we don't want it. It's just when it comes to really knowing a person's true intention, when it comes to respect and loyalty and trust and honesty and understanding and communication and being spiritually guided, being on one accord. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to find that. You said not a nun, just older and wiser. Yeah, exactly. That part, right? Sometimes I feel like a nun. Sometimes I do. It's like I just done lost the urge kind of altogether. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know, you guys. It's like, because it's too much BS that comes with it, right? It's like, oh my God, you can have a conversation with somebody and you could be vibing, drinking wine or whatever, but then that person's true intentions is just not there. I ain't got time to be getting led astray. You understand what I'm saying? Waiting for this person to get, to catch him in a lie or some shit. I ain't got time for that. Porsche said, laughing out loud, not me. So Porsche, what you saying, Porsche? You saying that you back in the dating game, Porsche? Porsche, what you saying, girl? I'm like, I like being single. And it's not that I don't meet people. I do. But, like, I don't know. I always say, let spirit bring them. Let spirit bring them, child. Let the divine bring them. Because I sure as hell ain't got time to be picking and choosing and shopping and looking. I'm not on the market. You know? You said just picky. Yeah, we are picky. Virgos are picky as hell. But I'm okay. I'm good. I'm in a good space. I'm in a good space. Ooh, thank God for that. Knock on wood, child. For real, for real. Cause I ain't got time to be going through that back and forth. Like when you ready to travel, they might not want to travel, and then because they don't want to travel, they don't want you to travel. You happen to hide your shit from somebody because you don't know if they're gonna try to steal from you and shit. You say your bullshit meter's on fire. Exactly. So I just ain't got time, y'all. I don't. Let's see what else wants to come out from Virgos. Oh, and a lot of people be saying, well, damn, you need to get out and have fun. It's like, shit, where is there to go? Where can you have fun at this time of day? Please tell me. Because every time I look on the motherfucking phone, I see all kind of crazy shit going on. It's like you can't go no damn where. I look at Chicago, I'm like, oh shit, mm-mm. Look at Texas, I'm like, oh hell no. Look at Philadelphia, I'm like, oh hell no. You know what I'm saying? Look at LA, oh hell no. You know, I'm like, well damn. They done got the game fucked up, right? And then when I see, cause Trump is sometime. You said your family said stay in the house too much. Trump, I don't really know how to really take Trump sometimes because he just said some crazy shit here recently where Trump said some shit like if you go out of the country and you leave the United States, you may not be able to get back into the United States. So if you go out the country and you choose to go someplace, you know what I'm saying, to a different island or whatever the case may be, if you choose to go to China, Japan, Australia, whatever the case may be, you might not be able to come back to the damn United States because they talking about they gonna strip you of your shit. I ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? When he said that, you guys, I said, oh shit. Wait a minute, pause. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hold up, pause. So you telling me if I book a first class trip and I leave the country, I might not be able to get back home? Oh hell no. So it's like that kind of puts some shit on, That puts some shit on pause. That puts some shit on pause. You said Trump told them when he reads a poem called Snake, he said he told y'all not to trust me. Oh Lord Jesus. The King of Pentacles just came out, Virgos. It said, what situation in your life is bringing you financial wealth and stability? My continuing to be spiritually inclined, child. I'm telling you the truth. Because wealth don't always have to be material, and wealth don't always have to be money. Wealth can just be being spiritually smart, knowing right from wrong, knowing, when to and what not to, and knowing when to say no and no thank you, and it's okay. Choosing to just be the fuck alone and just choosing yourself first. You said, yeah, he banned them and we stuck. That's what I'm saying, man. I said, oh shit. When Trump said if you leave the country, you can't get the fuck back in. I said, well, damn. That kind of cuts the whole motherfucking taking a trip vacation completely in half because that means I gotta pick some place in the United States. Okay, got it. You know? And then when you look at the map, and you like, well, where do I want to go in the United States? So yeah, mm, I don't know. It's a lot going on. You said that part, choose self. Yeah. So that's where I'm at, you guys, trying to figure out like where do I want to pack a fucking bag and go? Like for real, for real. Cause I'm ready to take a trip. But where the fuck to? I don't know. I'm going some other fucking place though. Cause Ace of Swords, you said, are you prepared to receive the truth regarding an important matter when it comes to the Ace of Swords, Virgo? Are we prepared to receive the truth regarding an important matter? Well, yeah, we're always prepared to receive the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be either one or two things. You know, it's like when it comes to facing the truth, can we trust this person? No, we already knew that shit. Do you get on people on a job? Not really. We already knew that shit. And see, when I see shit like this, are you prepared to receive the truth regarding an important matter? I don't know. It depends, because family, I've already cut off a few of them. So, if you're not really fucking with your family members, okay, that's not really a big issue. If you don't really have friends on the outside, you really don't give a fuck. You can't miss what you don't have, right? So it's like, okay. So when it come to change, change is two things: starting over, having to look for a new job, a new career, having to strategize when it comes to how you invest, save money, right? And what you spend your dollars on, and what you choose not to spend your dollars on. And sometimes it's good to act broke. You know what I'm saying? It's good to act broke. Act broke. You know what I'm saying? For real. I'm with that. It's good not to it's good to learn to live beyond your means versus trying to get out there and keep up with the Joneses. You said a snake is a snake. Just shed its skin, but it comes right back. Yeah, exactly. And nobody has time for that. So I think for Virgos, it's all about doing something different. It's all about choosing something different. And so when it comes to choosing to doing something different, it's like, what are we going to do? Right? What are we going to do? What are some changes that we need to adjust? How do we get back in alignment when it comes to seeking spiritual balance and having a little bit of gratitude, showing gratitude, remaining humble and down to earth, facing reality when it comes to loyalty, honesty, understanding who you really are, having that better communication skill, not being afraid to speak up when it comes to your value. You know, what is it that we're willing to learn? Sometimes we might need to go back and pick up a learning skill, a trade, learning some shit, putting forth action, not just speaking it, but taking what how can we take our ideas and put it into action by pushing forward. Hopefully, hopefully this reading is resonating, Virgos. Without me feeling like I'm going on and on. Hopefully, you guys understand what I'm saying. Hopefully, it resonates for my Virgos. Hopefully, it does. Like I said, feel free to book a reading if need be. Let me see something. Let me put these cards down. I'll pick up another deck real quick, and then I'm gonna shut it down because you guys kind of understand what I'm saying. But let's see. Let me just kind of take out some cards real quick, and then I'm gonna shut this down. Okay. Because this is what it's giving me. It's giving me spiritual change, spiritual guidance, getting back on the right accord, getting back in alignment. That's what this reading is giving me, you guys. It's giving me needing to get our priorities in order, take care of things that we're needing to focus on, like cooking, cleaning, showering, laundry, pay the bills, do the dishes, take out the trash, sweep, vacuum when need be. That's what I'm kind of getting from this here. That's what it's giving me. But let's see. Let's see. Getting grounded. I'm kind of seeing a little bit of everything, Virgos. But let's see. Of course, every word. So it is resonating. Let me know if it's resonating, you guys. Let me know. Are we touching on some things here tonight or this morning? I don't know what time is it where you guys are. It's 3:08 a.m. So it's in the morning where I am. But are we understanding? Are we on the same accord? Are we making sense? You know? Let me know. Because I don't want to just be going on and on and on and talking. So let's see. What else needs to come out for my Virgos at this time? Because we are like mid-July, We are mid-July birds. Ooh. Mm. Wow. Okay. I said, what else do we need to know for Virgos? And you got criticizing. Criticizing your partner is driving them away. Focus on their good qualities. I don't know who needs that message because you can't fix someone. They have to want to change. Accept them or let them go. And once a mirror breaks into a million pieces, leave it be and throw it out. I don't know who needs that message, but that's what just came out. Wow. You said it's 5 p.m. where you are down and under. That's crazy, you guys. Like I said, some of us could be going through a situation. Oh my God. Not compatible. You don't really believe there's a match for you. You have an open mind. Oh my God. The birds. Who is this message for? Says focus on their good qualities for some of you. And for others, you can't just fix somebody. The time has come for you to either accept somebody, accept them for who they are or let them go, or you're no longer compatible. You're not a match to this person. Somebody needs that message. I don't know who. You know, take your time. That's why I say it's okay to be single, child. It's okay to be single. Something you could be seeing in number 3 or the number 5. Something you could be dealing with somebody with the initial C. The initial C, D, or E. Or somebody who has those initials C, D, E, and A. Mm, making perfect sense now. I picked up one of those initials. Wow. Yeah, holding on. It says you must release old ties in order to have a fresh start with someone new. I can't make it up, you guys. You said their middle name starts with C. Okay. Procrastinating. Don't make someone wait around too long. They may give up on you. Mm, wow. I can't make this up. Anxiety. You are afraid to get close to someone. They are scared too. Give them a chance. Oh Lord. Then you got the getting hurt card. All love comes with the risk of losing it. Don't be afraid to floss. Take a chance. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ugh. It's like that part. When I hear some shit like that, it's like, oh my God, take a chance. What does that mean? Do we open the door and allow somebody to come in so that we can give them closure and give us closure? Do we sit down and have that conversation of communication where we kind of go back down what caused the problem to take place in the first place and then say, okay, yeah, we know it was wrong. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. Can you forgive me? Yeah, okay. I can forgive you, but I'm not dumb. I'm not, forgive you. Don't forget, but I forgive you. But that don't mean that we need to really get back together. You know what I'm saying? On that level. You said you never kind of person that's in their head procrastinating over anything. I know that's right. You said holding on to what? Slow box and bird. Let's see. What else came out? Then I think I'm gonna let this go, you guys. It says losing yourself. You feel at a loss in your partner. It's okay to be yourself and have your own life too. And then it says too busy. You're used to being busy as an excuse, or you're using being busy as an excuse not to date. You must make time for a partner. Oh my God, that's what we were just talking about. And then past trauma. You need to take time for yourself and heal your past trauma before moving on. Okay, and I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. Somebody is hiding feelings. It says you need to express how you feel to the one you love to see how they feel in return. They can have it resonate. I'm just a messenger. Oh my God. Then this card, unsocial. You need to get out and mingle with new people so you can meet someone. Oh my God. You guys, I'm going to leave it there. And then this card right here, but this is funny. It says, love sucks. You have stopped believing in love. Let yourself heal so you can be open again. Oh my Jesus, y'all. And then the vulnerable card. You cannot experience true intimacy unless you open your heart and be yourself. Oh my Lord. You guys. I'm gonna leave it there, child. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there. You said holding on to what? Oh my God, you guys. Yeah, that's it, you guys. That's your reading. Hopefully it made sense. I don't know. Somebody needed to receive that message, you guys. I hope y'all received it. Whoever needed to receive it, child. I don't know. But hopefully it made sense. I won't try to be here too long. But hopefully it made sense because that's exactly where it took us to. You guys is welcome. I'm out.